All right, welcome to BitCenter. We broke 50 G's today. Huge milestone. Let the institutional FOMO begin. Anyways, there's a ton of Bitcoin content coming out every day. Podcasts, articles, global Bitcoin news, and more. It's tough to keep up with, so we bring you all the best highlights and need-to-know information. I'm Winn, and thanks for joining us for block number 2. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell so you can be the first to see our new episodes when they come out. In the video description below, we'll provide you with the links for all the content discussed in our show.
I'm Roland. It's Tuesday, February 16th. Thanks for tuning in. We've got a great show for you today. Today, we'll be discussing some recent key Bitcoin highlights like Morgan Stanley getting into Bitcoin, why India should buy Bitcoin instead of ban Bitcoin, MicroStrategy announcing their new second convertible debt offering to buy even more Bitcoin. And we're going to introduce our new series BitFinance. Let's start the show. A $150 billion Morgan Stanley investing arm, Counterpoint Global, is considering adding Bitcoin to its list of their long-term investments. Large institutions are starting to look deeper into Bitcoin and take time to truly learn about it. In prior years, most people and companies wrote Bitcoin off as a joke. They called it magical internet money, funny money, and nothing more than a speculative bubble. However, they're learning that their arrogance and ignorance is costing them a fortune while they witness bold players like Michael Saylor, Tesla, Paul Tudor Jones, et cetera, make billions.
According to analysis by CoinDesk, options data shows there's an absence of long-term hedging by institutions, a very bullish sign for Bitcoin. A put option gives the holder the right, but not the obligation to sell the underlying asset at a predetermined price on or before a specific date. Investors buy puts, paying a premium when anticipating a price drop, and sell puts, collecting a premium when they foresee price consolidation or a rally. Currently, large investors are still selling their long-term put options below $40,000, showing they are not anticipating a sustained price drop below $40,000.
Here we have Balaji, who wrote an impeccable article on why India should buy Bitcoin instead of ban Bitcoin. I'm sure you heard India was talking about potentially banning Bitcoin. Terrible idea on their part. Anyway, Balaji, he lays out 10 spectacular points outlining how India will immensely benefit from embracing Bitcoin. Balaji makes the case for India creating a digital rupee and backing it with Bitcoin, since it is sound money and it is harder than gold. Bitcoin is digital gold. Here's a few key highlights from that article. Adopting Bitcoin would vastly increase India's national security from a global financial perspective. As we've all seen in the last year, many companies and nations have engaged in severe censorship, deplatforming, sanctions, restricting bank accounts and transactions. And since Bitcoin is completely decentralized, they will not be able to be cut off or restricted by anybody, any company, any nation. So they really should embrace it instead of ban it. Embracing Bitcoin will actually bring more capital, more wealth, and entrepreneurship to India. We've all seen in the past, what have we all seen in the past months? Several billionaires and corporations adopt Bitcoin. As the price increases, so does their net worth and their valuations. Meaning the countries where these companies, institutions are located, these individuals, they're going to benefit as well for a variety of reasons, right? You want to attract capital, not ban it, not push it out. Bitcoin would also strengthen India's monetary policy because Bitcoin has the world's best monetary policy out of all the currencies and even gold now. Bitcoin is the most scarce asset there is. Governments have always held gold as a hedge against inflation, especially against their own currencies. Now governments will transition to hodling Bitcoin because it is far superior to gold in every aspect.
In a recent Forbes article titled "Bitcoin Shows Continued Strength by Retaining Latest Gains," Sergey Nazarov was interviewed and had the following insight. As more and more companies like Tesla put Bitcoin on their balance sheet, institutions and money managers are feeling a great amount of pressure to gain exposure to the asset. The whole Bitcoin is dead narrative has likely lost a lot of credibility over the last couple of months, and he wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin continues to show strength as bigger players finally realize that Bitcoin is genuinely becoming mainstream. He goes on, Bitcoin is now the best performing asset in the financial markets. Would it really be so unthinkable if it doubled in value and hit 100K? We don't think so. He goes on again, I think most realize now that it's entirely possible, especially as central banks continue to print and debase their currencies. Additionally, with the growth of decentralized finance, or DeFi, users can now use their Bitcoin both as a hedge against inflation and as a means to earn higher interest than anything traditional finance products can provide. It really is the perfect storm for Bitcoin.
Dan Held and Peter McCormack recorded 3 different Bitcoin podcasts recently. It was like a mini series, and the first one was Bitcoin Supercycle. The next one, Path to a Bitcoin Standard. And then Dan laid out why Silicon Valley doesn't get Bitcoin. Really good podcasts. We provide you the links. Dan does an amazing job laying out the path of how the world gets to a global Bitcoin standard. Also explains why Silicon Valley doesn't get Bitcoin, which is primarily because, to their fault, they're so focused on the payments narrative, which is super old. It's gold 2.0. I don't know why they can't understand it. They've been ingrained over the years to think that technology always has to keep iterating. They think that a better Bitcoin is still going to come along and take Bitcoin's throne. Even after all these years, sad for them, they can have fun staying poor. Lastly, Dan gives his case for a Bitcoin super cycle this time around. He explains how the global macro backdrop is immensely different from prior bull runs, and how he's exactly right. We have central banks all around the world printing tens of trillions of dollars, and we have censorship, suppression like we haven't seen in many decades. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of more on-ramps to Bitcoin this time around. Large institutions are adopting Bitcoin and hodling for the long term. There are so many reasons why Bitcoin could very well hit $1 million this cycle. Again, we have the clips to those pods. Check them out.
Bitcoin is a store of value. That is the narrative. That is being well known. That is well known by all of the top minds in finance, and that's an incredible achievement. Bitcoin's success metric of being a successful new reserve asset, it does not need to ever enter the medium of exchange unit of account eras. That would just be its completion of a full maturation of becoming a world reserve currency, a world asset that's used by everyone. It very much will achieve that, even if it doesn't achieve, it'll still achieve very, very high level of success, even if it just stays in the store of value era. A great example of this is gold.
All right, speaking of institutions, this morning MicroStrategy announced they are offering $600 million in convertible notes to purchase more Bitcoin. Michael Saylor is the ultimate Bitcoin bull, and this is exactly why.
Dan Held gets another highlight on this episode with his great article on Bitcoin and the rise of the MegaCorp. Dan explains how corporations are waking up to the reality that their cash reserves are melting away. They're melting ice cubes, as Saylor would say, to the tune of about 15% each year in debasement, losing that purchasing power due to unprecedented money printing. The gold 2.0 and store of value narrative is being cemented, and Bitcoin is also even more unlikely to get banned as a result. What politician is going to want to upset millions of their constituents, crush the stock markets? It's not going to happen. We have many politicians who are even Bitcoiners themselves, and they're advocating for Bitcoin in their states and even in DC. Trust in governments is eroding, and corporations that are embracing Bitcoin are becoming massively wealthier and therefore more powerful. Many of them, like Tesla, Apple, Google, etc., are already worth more than many countries. This trend is just getting started, so go check out the full article. We provided you the link below.
On average, real wages are being outpaced greatly by the rise in the average price of real estate. If you have not been making on average 8.6% or more per year in income, and have not been earning on average 8.6% or more on your savings, then every year that passes, it will be more difficult to acquire real estate. This should incentivize you to want to learn more about your money, different ways you can protect it, and why Bitcoin helps. To learn more about this and other topics, subscribe and join Roland and I as we examine finance through the lens of Bitcoin in our new series, BitFinance. Thanks for listening. Block number 2 is officially mined. Let us know of any thoughts you have in the comments section. Please like our video and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Thank you so much.
We're also giving away 5,000 sats to a couple lucky winners who retweet this episode. Be sure to tag us so we know you're eligible. Look forward to our next episode, block number 3. We'll leave you with your favorite Bitcoin evangelist, Michael Saylor, as always.
It's the technically superior asset class compared to the dollar, the euro, the peso, the bolivar. compared to a stock index, compared to gold, compared to silver, compared to everything you can conceivably buy, it is technically, thermodynamically superior as an asset. The point is, if you have the superior asset, it's going up forever, Laura.